Hello everybody, welcome back. As you can see that from the last competition, my truck has gained quite a bit of weight. A lot of it is the waterproofing and the inner fenders that I've added. I'm hoping that does not hurt the performance too much. I've probably gained about 150 grams since the last competition. It did really well in that it won, but today what I'm going to talk about is the electronics of the truck. And pretty simple. Everybody knows it's just a battery. And if you have a Firma, basically a 2-in-1 type ESC motor, the battery plugs directly into that. You've got a wire that goes out to channel 2, and then channel 1 runs your servo. Then any other channels go to either LED lights or other accessories that you choose. Maybe a shifting thing, a shifting servo, whatever it is. But anyway, one thing that I was realizing after the last run, when I was trying to find out how long the batteries last with all the lights on the truck except for the light bar on top, which I don't run, I found out that my battery does not last very long. And I started thinking about, why would my battery have died so quickly? The first thing that came to mind was I'm running it at 40 degrees outside and temperature was dropping, so who knows how cold it ended up being at the end of that run. But the cold temperatures will drop your runtime. Another thing that I believe dropped the runtime was I plugged my programming card into the ESC and I turned it up so that the servo could have 7.4 volts instead of 6 volts. Well, essentially what I did was I connected this together, went into the ESC, jumped it to 7.4 so it could feed this 7.4 volts. A thing that I had not had in mind when I did it is this basically becomes a power distribution bus, and it's going to send 7.4 volts out to this channel, and this channel. So I was basically running 10 lights. In the case of my truck, I've got 6 on the headlights, taillights, and the underglow lights. And then actually this was 8 lights here. So I was running 14 LEDs at 7.4 volts instead of 6 volts. And I was getting LiPo cutout around 3.85 or 3.9 volts per cell. And that's just because I was drawing too much power. And I think by dropping this back down to 6 volts, it's going to increase the battery life. If I'm on a trail, battery life is more important than whether my servo can slam the tires back and forth really hard. So a trail doesn't do much. But if I was in a competition or doing heavy type crawling, I would just turn the lights off and use my programmer here and turn the ESC back up to 7.4, and you can do it in seconds. So competitions, things like that, you can change them at will. But for normal trailing, I'm now going to run this at 6 volts, just because I don't want my battery life to be so short that I have to keep changing batteries. And I was running a 4200 mAh battery that should have given me over an hour of runtime, and it wasn't that long. It was probably 45 minutes, and I had to change it out. So just keep in mind, if you're running 7.4 here, you're powering everything else at 7.4, because I don't believe receivers have the ability of any kind to regulate how much voltage goes out. It basically shares whatever it gets along. Just basically, if you tied all these wires together, that's what is fed. They don't have a way to individually meter wires. So if you are running into runtime issues and you run 7.4 volts, go ahead and back it off once, see what you get, find out if you don't get a little bit more runtime. But that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one.